DRC Ramming Jr. from Arawak X, and of course, my good friend Nat Butler. Nat, stay right there, but DRC, let me get you first before we go any further. I know you know, of course, Nathaniel Butler, who will be joining us from Druber Solutions in a minute. But DRC, let me just say congratulations. Arawak X has launched its first two companies, two exciting companies. Man, so tell us a bit about it. I know you couldn't tell us anything about it last week or Monday, whatever that was. But tell us a bit about the companies that have launched.
So as I said last week, and thank you for inviting me back on the show. I know we got cut off midway through. So the two companies, one of them is Red Lobster, and the other is Bahama MiFi, which is a augmented reality digital company. And so
I love it.
Yeah. So isn't it? It is exciting, right? Exciting. You know, it's
that's exciting.
We have always had good ideas here in the Bahamas. And as you can see, those are two very different types of businesses, but they can still legitimately add value to people's lives and really make their customers better. And so, for us, it's a pleasure to be a part of them coming to the markets. Ultimately, those companies have to run their businesses, but now they have the opportunity to be public, essentially.
Yeah. You know what's so exciting about this, and interesting too, and that brings questions to me. What's exciting about this is that I've said it before, and I want people to understand how vital this is and how amazing that we have two businesses that I believe. Personally, the tech one is my excitement, but I know Bahamians eat. So the Red Lobster one, for sure, that ain't closing down no time soon. And so I want every part of that as Bahamians in our belly. We eat out, right? And God help.
Yeah, there's a special place for food, It speaks to us.
That's an understatement. We like food. Listen, they tried to shut down the restaurants in the pandemic. We're like, hold on now. We need to eat. There's only so much fast food we could eat. And I want to ask this question. What makes you, or what comes before you guys when you decide? Do you decide? Do you vet? Does Arawak X do a lot of its projections and forecasting to determine, hey, is this company viable for our clientele? Who is the client? I have tons of questions you can tell.
Yes. So when it comes to the businesses, they do go through a vetting process. However, no part of the vetting process do we judge the idea, because the truth is with ideas is that no one really knows which ideas are going to work or not. The market decides, the customers decide whether ideas are going to work or not. And so what ended up happening in the 70s, really, there's this startup, a new exchange launched in America called NASDAQ, because the technology companies weren't getting funded in the old way. And they weren't getting funded because people said, oh, computers, who needs those things? They don't make any sense. I'm good with my pen and paper. And so they had to go somewhere else. And that's why NASDAQ formed. And that's kind of why Arawak X was formed, because many of these businesses that we have were not getting funding through the traditional means. And so we are here to fill a gap in that up to $5 million space, where before Arawak X, there was no way to get funding outside of, unless you knew somebody or you were part of the old boys club.
Yeah.
So that's the truth. And so we've seen the response has been amazing. Literally, I go to sleep and then we wake up with 300, 400, 500 new signups. We're onboarding people every day. We're getting better at onboarding people every day. Hopefully, for people who are listening in on the show, our team is trying to be very, very communicate with you. So where you are in the process. So far, 640 people have been fully onboarded.
Wow.
And we have another 1,800 that are have started the process in some way. And so it's I did warn people to get signed up last week.
You did,
Uh,
and mind
so
you, I started and I haven't done it yet. So I'm like, shame on me, because now I need to know, because there are things, and I'm going to bring that on. And you're familiar with
yeah.
Nathaniel, right? So let's bring on Nathaniel. Nathaniel is my.
Hi, how are you doing, man?
Great, man. Great to see you again, man.
Nathaniel is my financial advisor. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Nathaniel is my guy who makes sure that I make sense when I'm thinking of something. And I thought none better than to join us during this conversation, because I want people to, and someone says I've signed up, people showing off, right? I started the process also. My good friend Agatha started the process. So folks are excited about it. I'm wanting to know a bit more, like, how do you make a determination? Right now, we're starting at the bottom, right? DRC and that. We're starting at the bottom. We're starting at the foundation of a business. And I know, as you said, DRC, you guys are not judging the idea, right? No. You want to just make sure that, no, because that is left up to us to judge the idea.
That's right. That's like I say, I mean, businesses speak to different people. Like you were talking about Bahama MiFi and how excited you were about that.
Yeah.
It's, if you don't know anything about technology, you're going to be like, no, definitely no. So that's just how it is. That's how ideas are. That's how businesses are. Not everybody comes from every kind of business, or is used to being in every kind of business. So we as a market decided long ago that we're not going to be the judge of ideas, but we are the judge of structure, because we do know that we're business people ourselves. There are 1,000 ways to die in business. There are 1,000 ways to get it right, but you can learn the ways to die and just make sure. No, you can't do that. You have to have some corporate governance. You have to have some.
Love it.
Some legal structure. Obviously, none of these companies that will ever be listed on ArrowACX will be somebody's cousin with an idea. It'll be somebody.
That's it. Yeah. We love that.
Okay.
Structure, right? This is structure, and making sure that. Someone asked a great question. Can we sign up to ArrowACX with an international bank account? So this is a Bahamian abroad. I'm wanting to invest locally. Can they do so?
Yes. By regulation, they can.
Awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so it's Sunny. Look at that. That's great news. I want to ask this, Nat, for persons who are trying to figure out how to invest. And by the way, the startup cost and investment is pretty inexpensive. I think it's $16 for
16 in one of them. Yeah,
and 25 in the other, right, or something like that. Yep. So, and I won't lie to y'all, I'm going for the technical one right away. Like, that's my one. I'm going in the tech one. That idea I've been thinking about from like I was 10 and never smart enough to do anything about it. I just knew. Not from when I was 10. I'm lying, of course, from when I was like 28. So anyways, Nat, what would you say would be advice you would give to someone in determining how much to invest, what to invest in when you look at something like ArrowACX?
I think we should follow a simple rule of 6. I know Darcy would agree with me with some of my points, what I would share in a bit. But the simple rule of 6, the first thing you want to do is, first and foremost, before we look at even investing into the stock, we got to look at how much we have to invest. I'm a big proponent of not using the school fee money, the BPL money, the mortgage money to invest.
So definitely don't do that.
Good.
We want to make sure that we have, and so we call that money, from a technical standpoint, we call that the risk capital. If I were to lose all of it, I'm still in a good position. So the whole purpose of this particular fund is just for the purpose of investing. After that, the second thing we want to look at is how long we want to stay in the market to invest. All right. For some persons, this might be for retirement. So they might look at their age until they reach the age of retirement. They have that frame, or whatever that number is, they have that time in place. For others, it might be based on their investment. So they're looking at 15, 20, 30 years out. The beautiful thing about the platform, I'm not talking about the business, the platform, between now and until we hit the new year, there are a number of exciting companies that are going to come on stream. Some are going to be existing businesses, and you might possibly be able to get dividends as early as potentially, and this is me talking, not Darcy, potentially as early as probably even next year or the year after that.
Hold on, real dividends though, not the ones that I get, not the.
And I'm talking about the fake set. I'm talking about the real set now.
See, real
So,
dividends.
real
Yeah,
dividends.
no, this is money. This isn't play. We're doing. This is about. So we as the platform, so we're not allowed to give investment advice. So
No,
please,
we can't. No, we can't.
look to investment advisors such as Nat. We are just here to make sure things are structured properly, and so that gentlemen such as advisors such as Nat can give you proper advice, and that he knows that he's not selling something that is just hot air. Because if markets like us didn't exist, you'd be playing in a very, very, very you'd be in the private equity space, which is like wild, super wild west. You have to be very, very sophisticated to be in that. So we're a middle ground between being super sophisticated and being super sure and protected. There's that space in there where businesses are moving from crazy wild west to slow growing, stable as could be, and so we're in that middle ground.
Yeah. And that I think helps us. So Nat, go ahead. Your thoughts on that.
So no, I'm in agreement with him, and that brings me to point number 3. And I'm going to give you the other 4, 5, and 6 points very quickly. That brings me to point number 3: understanding the platform, what role RWAC-X plays. It's just an exchange. Understanding the purpose of the exchange, understanding that it is under the regulation of the Securities Commission. So if something is not right, you have someone who you can go to in being the Securities Commission. Now, the last 3 points: invest in areas you understand and know. Don't mess with an area you do not understand. As much data information persons may be able to provide for you, you might not be in the best person to assess the situation to see whether or not there's opportunity. So I would say areas that you are quite familiar with, quite aware of, invest in those areas. The second thing you want to look at too is look at the numbers. Each one of these companies that are going to be on this platform, they have to provide basic information where it is existing financials or forecasting. They have to provide a series of information of the type of business it is, what their service and product, and what problem they are trying to solve, and also the financial and the management team as well, to see whether or not these persons have the experience enough, once given them the funding, that they're able to execute on what it is that they're putting forth to you. So now you got to look at the numbers. So that's my 5th point. The last point is, and this is big, you need to assess how big the market is. Keep in mind now, what I love about, and I'm just going to use the 2 examples that exist. What I love about the 2 examples that were mentioned: one, a tech company that focuses on tourism. Well, the whole entire Caribbean relies heavily on tourism. So there's great potential there. Now, we just have to figure out what is the strategy of that company in regards to the market, in regards to the size of the market. The other company has plans to expand into other Caribbean territories. So also that we have to take into consideration. Will COVID play a factor in their development?
Yeah.
There's so much we have to take a look at. So I'm saying these are my 6. Know how much money you're going to invest in. Know how long you're going to stay within the market. And then, of course, understand the role of RWAC-X. Once you would have done that, then the next step is invest in areas you have understanding about. Get the information that is on the platform, not from your cousin who's broke. On the platform, watch the videos. I understand everybody's opinionated. What's going to work and what's not going to work.
I see a question here talking about, we're joking a lot about our cousins. You have to understand that business happens through a corporate entity. This is what we're talking about, structure. So your cousin with an idea that is leader of a company is not your cousin with an idea. So if he's not structured to even take on investors, not structured to even, because you can't own shares in people. You can only own shares in companies. So that's important to remember. So
yeah, it's not about
We're-
personality. It's about
No.
it's about a company. Let me ask you this. Someone asked a question. Is there a guarantee that dividends will be issued? I know that with the structure of some companies, paying dividends is optional. What is that?
So there is never a guarantee for anything in this life. And anyone who tells you there's a guarantee is lying to you. So that's the first thing. Now, that being said, the companies on Arawak X have to declare what they intend to do in terms of dividend policy. And so you can look at that, talk with your financial advisor, look at that, and make a determination as to whether or not that fits your investment profile. Because some companies in the United States, like Amazon, notoriously doesn't give dividends. They take all their money and they pour it back into growth. For some people, they're cool with that. For others, they have to have their dividends. They have to have their Coca-Cola stocks. They have to have their Nabisco, and that's okay. And so we're just here to provide tools for the market participants to use to make it so that you can live the life that you want. And if you want to live the life that you want, you have to have the money to live the life that you want. That's just a reality.
Let me ask this to Nat on this. What percentage, is there a percentage of one's disposable income? When we're learning about saving or budgeting, that sort of pay yourself first or do this 20%, that's all yours. Is there a particular percentage that you would suggest? And I know we're about to wrap up right now, but a particular percentage that you would suggest that someone would put into an investment?
Well, I would say it all depends on the individual. If you're dealing with individuals with literally no debt, they can put in a large percentage of their income if they choose this particular route for an investment vehicle. Keep in mind, this platform is still competing against real estate and other forms of investment as well. So if I were to put a number, this is just me speaking, if I were to put a number to it, if you have no debt and you love crowdfunding and you love businesses and dividends and that sort of stuff, I would say go as low as 20%, which you have to lose. But if you're dealing with someone with debt and massive debt, I would say try to get out of that as much as possible, or try to generate another stream of income first before you dive wholesale within the market. I do not want to paint the picture that this is a savior in regards to an income. Like, hey, put all your money in this. And,
no, it doesn't work that way.
No, you need a plan. You really need a plan. There's different strategies that can be employed in this. I'm excited to see what all businesses are going to come on stream. And I'll tell you this, my best advice to most humans who are in a lot of debt, if you eliminate all of the debt that you have, right? Remember now, this is a large portion of money being paid out from your salary. You're not used to it. Before you put it back into your saving or before you put it into spending, take a portion of that and you could use that money on a monthly basis, upload it to a account of some sort, or even this platform, and buy stocks. Like literally.
That's great practical advice. It's great practical advice. And I will to add to what Nat is saying, and what he's saying is a very viable strategy. And so people, please do listen to what he's saying. Like I say, I'm not allowed to give investment advice. However, that being said, when you get used to living in a certain way, when you get some more money, the prudent people stay living at that way, and then they invest above that. And then once you've amassed a certain amount, it's actually quite easy to invest. That's where the compounding effect of stuff happens. So if you can keep your expenses like this while your income goes like this, you get to invest all of that extra. So
guys, listen.
I guess the people on the radio couldn't see that, but
I saw the sign language. That was good. But nobody saw it on there on the radio. Listen, Darcy, thank you so much. I'm so proud of you guys. I'm very impressed with the company. I think it is a blessing, and I'm happy that it's out and running. And Nat, thank you so much for being here.
I'd be remiss to say that I have a wonderful team of rock stars.
Oh, I know.
I'm just the spokesperson.
I know.
So
You're a good spokesperson, though.
yes. All right, guys.
All right, we gotta go. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 90.